But he's definitely gonna be a Pistons fan, though.
That is a fact, my brother. Listen, hey, we back just in time for my son to see, you know what I'm saying? We done had some down years. He ain't got to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell him all of that. Hey, back in the day, listen, the Pistons wasn't all that good. He'll be like, what? Dad, they got Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duran and all that stuff. I'm be like, listen, it was a time when we didn't have that. We used to have Blake Griffin. That's what I'm going to tell him. He going to be like, what? Who's Blake Griffin?
He was looking like an MVP stature in Detroit, man.
Facts, man.
Yeah. But yeah, man, the Pistons right now, 6th seed in the Eastern Conference with a record of 36-29. It's about to be 37, hosting the Washington Wizards right now. They're up 114-98 with 2.5 minutes left. Your leading player, first-time All-Star, Cade Cunningham, as you mentioned, averaging 26 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 9 assists per game, with a field goal percentage of 46 and 36 from the three-point line. With what your guys are doing up to this point in the season, we still have a month and a half left to the regular season going into the play-in and then the playoffs. You guys are looking like you're going to solidify that 6th seed, maybe even move up to the 5th. So there's not going to be a play-in tournament for you guys. You guys are going to get into the playoffs. Before we talk about who will be or who might be your playoff matchup, just seeing your season or your seasons go from being one of the worst teams in the league for the last few years to being a number 6 seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs. How are you feeling about that?
I feel really good. Now, you know me, I'm a realistic Pistons fan, G Money. I've never been unrealistic. I really have to credit JB Bickerstaff. I think if we're going off what has turned the Detroit Pistons season around, JB Bickerstaff, it has to start with him. You know what I'm saying? So anybody else do you want to put up for coach of the year? I don't think it holds a candle to JB, because look at what we came from to where, we still got a little bit left of the season, but it's looking like we're going to be a top 6 seed. We're going to have 2 playoff games in Detroit at the very least. We just went from the last 5 years being top 5 in the lottery to now actually having playoff games in Detroit. I mean, you couldn't ask for nothing better as a real Detroit Pistons fan. Like I said, I think when JB got to Detroit, if I'm going to be honest with you, again, I was a little skeptical because, again, I've seen this movie before when a head coach, has a pretty good team and stuff like that. They kind of fizzle out in the playoffs and then they get fired and then they come to Detroit. Because why? Detroit's going to pay you a nice little piece of change. You can, go through the rigmarole, everything as a head coach, and just, kind of chill. We saw that with Monty. We saw that with Dwayne Casey. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to those guys. That's what we saw. So, again, I thought it was kind of the same thing. JB Bickerstaff gets fired from Cleveland. Cleveland, a perennial kind of playoff team. They got Spider. They got some pieces over there, but he just couldn't really get them over that hump. So now he comes to Detroit. Again, we're at the bottom trying to look our way up. And I think he really unlocked what we've been wanting to see from Cade. You know what I'm saying? People forget Cade is a number 1 overall pick. I mean, Cade used to cook there at Oklahoma State. So not Oklahoma State, Oregon State, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it? Yeah, Oregon State. Yep.
Yes.
OSU.
So he used to cook. So again, I think he's unlocked that, and he's kind of, let K be like, look, man, you the driver of this ship. We're going to go as far as you go, and kind of really instill that in him. You see not just his play on the court, but his leadership, him getting guys involved. Because again, we have a lot of young guys. And I also want to give credit where credit is due to Tobias Harris. Again, I was not a fan when Tobias came back to Detroit. I said, we've been there, done that before with Tobias Harris. You know what I'm saying? But now he's in a completely different role. He's in a more of, he's the veteran on the team. He's the guy that's, getting people up and motivated and can give you a calm 12 to 15 on any night. he's still good enough for that. So I don't want to disrespect him. So I like the addition of Tobias Harris. Again, the team just kind of seems to be coming together at the right time. Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley is doing his thing on the Detroit Pistons as well. You know what I'm saying, shooting over 40% from the three. So we have some pieces. You know what I'm saying? We really do have some pieces. And again, I'm very curious to see who we get in the first round, because that fourth, fifth, or sixth seed, again, that could be very tricky. If we get to the fourth seed, now we got home court advantage in the first round. You know what I'm saying? Fifth seed, we'll see. But if we get 4 or 5, remember, those are usually the most even teams as far as when it comes to the playoffs, as opposed to it being a 1 seed versus 8 seed. 4 and 5 are the closest that you're going to get. So again, I'm curious to see who we play. We might even get Miami. You think we could get Miami, G Money?
Negative, negative. It's gonna
Okay.
be that's a whole different other conversation right there. If Miami
Makes
even makes the damn playoffs,
Listen, makes
uh,
sense. Makes sense. But again, as a real Pistons fan, man, I'm happy with what I'm seeing. And if I'm gonna be honest, I don't see how you can't call this season nothing but a success, especially from where we came from to now where we're going. It looks like we're headed in the right direction, and we just need to continue to build off this momentum that we got.
yeah, no, definitely. I think it is a season for success. Even if you only, get to the second round, or you get bounced out the first round, it doesn't matter. It's a season for success, especially of where you guys came from. You got
That's a
JB
fact.
that went over there. He changed up the culture a little bit. Like you said, he put Kate Cunningham at the throne of this, and he's the leader on this ship. They brought over Tobias Harris for some veteran leadership. They brought over Malik Beasley for some veteran leadership, and that has played out very well for you guys. And especially
Mhm,
with the young core that you guys got going, obviously Cade at the realm, but you got
mhm.
Jalen Duren too. He's averaging double doubles like it's nothing, and the way that he's been
Exactly.
playing defense too, he probably gets like averages like 3, 4 blocks a game. I haven't seen the
Mhm,
stats on that, but I'm pretty sure of all the games that I've been seeing how Jalen Duren has been doing good, and I got him on one of my fantasy basketball leagues, so I know he's
Okay.
been doing great.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he's averaging like 3 or 4 blocks a game. He
Mhm,
plays great defense, great rim protector. He can also play the perimeter too if you really need him to.
mhm.
And then I don't know if it's Asir or Ahmed Thomas. Which one is it? Which one of the
A sore.
twins is Asur?
A
Asur
sore.
Thomas.
Yeah, we got a sore. Yeah.
If you really put it into perspective, they're both kind of the same player, and they both can actually do triple doubles for their respective teams. But just talking about Ashore, man, he likes to play make. His IQ is very high, and if you match
Mhm.
him there with Kate Cunningham as well, Kate Cunningham's a good spot up shooter. So if Kate's
That's a
able
fact.
to play off the ball, he can spot up shoot. He could get someone down in the post, use his strength to do a little fadeaway shot, if not drive into the basket for a layup or a dunk. And the way that the Pistons been moving on offense, man, is very dope to see, especially for you Pistons fans. Again, after all the the last 4 or 5 years that you guys have been like just in the gutter, and now you're
Yeah.
climbing out. You're climbing out of that hole, and you're getting into the playoffs. You got some hope, and
Mhm.
it's gonna be tough to see who you're gonna face in the first round, because if you stay in the sixth seed, you might get the New York Knicks. If
Mhm.
you move up to the fifth seed, you might get the Milwaukee Bucks.
Maybe.
So it depends on who you're really playing. But right now, who you guys would play is the New York Knicks. So
Mm.
in a 7 game series with
Yeah.
Knicks having the home court advantage, how do
Yeah.
you see that it would play out?
Honestly, if both teams are healthy, I think we could get 2 games off of the Knicks, because I think, in my opinion, I know what Jalen Brunson is going to do. Jalen Brunson, he eats, he cooks. I think the person that we need to kind of get out of his rhythm is Cat. You know what I'm saying? And how we do that is we tell Isaiah Stewart, be physical with Cat. Get up in him. Same thing with Jalen Duren. Again, try not to foul, because Cat is a great foul shooter. He's not like your typical big man that can't shoot free throws. So I don't want to just continuously put him on the line. But what I want to do is I just want to make it tough for him. A lot of those series, when it came to Steph Curry and the Cleveland Cavaliers. What was their moniker? Hey, kind of rough Steph up a little bit. Don't foul him, but listen, every time he comes off the screen, give him a little, what I'm saying,
little
make it just
nuts.
make it tough for him. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the same thing that JB is gonna try to get the Pistons to do if we were to play the Knicks, get physical with Cat, kind of get him out of his game. You know what I'm saying? Again, let Jalen Brunson go off, and then it's going to turn into the one man can't beat an entire team. So again, I think we could get 2 games off of the Knicks realistically. They have an experienced head coach. You know what I mean? They got an experienced team. They made it to the second round last year. Again, we're up and coming. So that experience isn't there. But we do have a couple guys that have some playoff experience. I mean, we got Tim Hardaway Jr. just came off a finals appearance. We have Dennis Schroeder, who's been has Dennis Schroeder been to the finals? I can't remember exactly, but I know he's been deep in the playoffs, with
Yeah, yeah.
Atlanta and stuff like that, Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken, stuff so we have some veteran guys on there, but it's our young core. They're not as experienced as, let's say, a New York Knicks team. So I think that's where they would have the advantage with us. But I definitely think we could get 2 games realistically off the New York Knicks.
I think you guys could give them a run for their money, man. I think it could go
Okay.
game 7 just because of the fact that we're talking about Jalen Brunson on Cade Cunningham. Cade
Hmm.
Cunningham's not going to be able to stop Brunson. I don't think no one in the league can stop Brunson, but you can
Yeah.
slow him down. I feel like Cade is very confident and very reliable on defense that he can
Yeah.
actually slow him down a little bit. He's not going to stop him, but he could
Mhm.
slow him down.
Yeah,
And
he's
then
a
when you
big
got
guard.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then when you got Cat, you could put Jalen Duren on him. I think you could put the Tobias Harris on him. I think
Okay.
Duren's defense is way better than Tobias Harris for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure. For sure.
But I think Harris can do a little something. He's not going to stop him, and he's not going to slow him down as much. But I think
Mhm.
Duren can do a better job in that state. And then when it comes to the team overall, yes, you guys are very inexperienced compared to the Knicks. They've been to the playoffs like a few years
Mhm.
in a row now.
Mhm.
Almost made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But I think that their depth is what worries me for the Knicks, for Knicks fans, because
Mm.
their starting five is better than your starting five in my eyes, for sure.
Okay.
But when you look to the bench, it's hard for me to say that the Knicks are better than you guys because I think you guys run deeper on offense and defense.
I think
So
so too.
we're playing on a 7-game series, right? It's going to be the first round. So we're not talking about the second, third, whatever.
Yep.
It's going to be the first round. So players are going to be relatively healthy and rested, right?
Yeah.
But you have your starting five playing 35 to 40 minutes. No, I'm sorry, 40 to 44 minutes a game. I don't really
Yeah.
see that happening. You know what I'm
No,
saying? So,
you're
like,
right.
it's going to be tough for me to actually say that the Knicks can win it over Detroit Pistons. They should because they're the better team,
Yeah.
but we're going to see how the whole marathon plays out.
1,000%. I agree with you completely, G. I think we're gonna scare somebody in the first round, honestly. Like I think realistically, like you said, we could. And then I didn't even think about it. You're absolutely right. Tibbs is gonna run his starters into the ground. That's
Exactly.
who he relies on. And the fact that they don't, really have a bench per se, you know what I mean? Now I do think I would say, if I'm gonna be honest, the X factor for the Knicks in that series, I think would have to be Mitchell. Would have to be Mitchell. Because if Cat doesn't have to play the 5, that's better for the Knicks, in my opinion. Mitchell Robinson, excuse me.
Yeah.
Uh, if Cat doesn't have to play the 5, that works in New York Knicks' favor. But if he does, then I think that bodes well for us. Because, like you said, you can put Jalen Duren on him. And hell, like I said, you could put Isaiah Stewart on him. Isaiah Stewart, you got 6 fouls, my brother. I'm expecting you to play tough, hard-nosed defense on Cat and make it tough for him. I think he could do that. If that was his sole purpose and that's all he needed to do was to, bother Cat, I think Isaiah Stewart could do that. So you kind of right. I'm gonna have to agree with you. I think we could push it to game 7. And once it comes to a game 7, that's 50-50 right there.
Yeah, it's anybody's game at that point. Even if you're playing at the Madison Square Garden, obviously
Hmm.
the home crowd is going to give you more energy and more positivity throughout the game. But
Yeah.
even then, it's just both teams are on their heels. Both teams are worried about, are we going to lose? Damn, am I going
Yep.
to play bad? Damn, are we going to do this? And then another thing I wanted to point out that we have talked about before on the show months ago when Cat was in, actually last year, when he was in with the Minnesota Timberwolves, was
Mhm.
the fact is, what type of Karl Anthony Towns are we going to see in the playoffs? Are we going
True.
to see a new and improved aggressive Karl Anthony Towns, or we're going to see the same old passive aggressive Cat?
That is true. That is
It's like,
true.
I don't
Listen,
know,
I
man.
can't.
If he's
I
passive
can't.
aggressive, they're gonna lose, bro. Because they need
Yeah.
him. They need him to score 20. They need him to get 10 rebounds.
Mhm.
Average. This has to be every single night. Because
Facts.
if not, they ain't winning, bro.
No, I completely agree with you. I'm looking at now. They need him to be like Cat, like you know what I mean, like
Yeah,
when we were talking about like, damn, could Cat be, that the face of your franchise and stuff like before, Anthony Edwards came and people forget we used to talk about Cat like that, you know what I'm saying? But
facts,
now
facts.
he's kind of almost morphed into he really just kind of wants to play on the perimeter and stuff. I mean, Cat should be what we've seen Anthony Davis be. Like I'm talking about just pure sheer dominance on the offensive and the defensive side of the ball. But it's like, they don't always show it. For what reason? I don't understand. I'm just saying
Well,
you're
I don't
seven.
think he's as athletic as AD.
Okay, that makes sense. I'll
Yeah.
take that.
I just
I'll take that.
but I see what you're saying, that he should
Mhm.
be around that realm of like
Yeah, facts.
scoring on anybody, playing great defense on anybody,
Mhm.
being trying to be a top 10 player in the league.
Yeah, easily. Cat, because he has this. I think he has the skill set, especially with his shooting being so elite for his size. You know what
Facts.
I mean? This man has won a 3-point contest at 7 foot. We've only seen Dirk do something like that. You know what I mean? And obviously, Dirk was a completely different player than Cat. But I'm just saying, when you're that big and you have the ability to score anyway, perimeter, inside, what I'm saying, bang down low, man. Listen, get your ass on the block, man. You know what I
Facts,
mean?
bro.
Like
Literally, man.
that's literally what I would, if I'm get your ass on the block. Make it hard for them. Get whatever their big man is in foul trouble. Like that's how the Knicks should be playing. Again, I understand Jalen Brunson is who Jalen Brunson is. A dog. He's a bucket. But you got this 7 foot monster right here. That's what you traded him for. You know what I mean? Shit.
Exactly.
I think you got rid of your best bench player, in my opinion, for Cat. And you got rid of Dante DiVincenzo, who we've seen he's hit big shots and he can step up in the playoffs. You let go of him, okay, get rid of Julius Randle and stuff, and you bring in Cat. You expect Cat to play at a certain level if you're the New York Knicks. So,
Facts. Facts.
yeah.